because if Trey Hendrickson isn't available, if Trey Hendrickson signs in Indianapolis or he signs for $40 million and he's not available, Maxx Crosby passes that physical. That's what I believe. That's how it works. And so
stuff.
you've given yourself an out and you took the out. And I get it. You can do it. It's a bad look, but you didn't all of a sudden Maxx Crosby come in there and all of a sudden your doctors go, "Did you guys know he had surgery?" We didn't know. He just got off crutches. We had no idea. There is always going to be degenerative changes in any joint if you play in the NFL. You can have the most pristine career and never been hurt, and you will have arthritic degenerative changes in every joint in your body because you play in the National Football League. That's just the way it is. They backed out of a deal because they had an opportunity to back out of a deal. And look at man, that's their prerogative. That's how the rules work. But like you said, it's a really bad look.
Yeah. Wow. Let's go to.
Yeah, 100%. I wanted to highlight this clip and mainly because Mark is highlighting just how wrecked your body is from playing in the NFL. And this is what I kept saying, that like when you look at scans of these guys' bodies, of their knees, their shoulders, whatever, there's always going to be something that can arise. And that's why I was really frustrated when I was making my takes about this and people were like, well, the doctors failed him. They saw something they didn't like. And I went on a whole rant saying, guys, I've had enough injuries and enough surgeries and I've interacted with enough doctors, respected doctors, that like I'm telling you right now, you're always going to be able to find something. Like, it's very, very simple. It's very straightforward. And if you don't want to take my word for it, take Mark. I mean, Mark's had like 15 plus surgeries in just one knee alone. And so like I think he knows what it's like to be injured and to get surgeries and get scans and work with all these doctors and play in the NFL. And so that's why something like this is frustrating. And the other layer, because I'd said I wanted to move on from this and I do, but then I see the bottom, right? Livid and confused. And I realized that it actually runs a little bit deeper than initially I was giving, energy towards. I was looking at it a lot more from the football perspective and even the football emotions of it, of like Maxx Crosby getting traded, then he's not, and then he gets rejected and he goes to Baltimore, and like how did they treat him there? Like that side of it, as well as did the Baltimore Ravens, just go back on the trade, all of that type of stuff. But now you have to look at it also through the lens of Maxx Crosby is being exposed technically to doctors who because they don't want this trade to go through. Like we're saying that your body is either not healing right now, not good enough, or we think your future is bad enough where we don't want you. Whether conceptually Max understands, they're just saying all this to get out of this deal, because again I promise you his own personal doctors who he has, at this point when you're someone like Max you're going to have like a legitimate relationship with them. There is, I'm sure Max has been explained many times, but your knees are wrecked, for the rest of your life your knees are going to be wrecked, your shoulders are going to be wrecked, your back, like your whole bodies. Like these guys aren't dumb and doctors understand the game at this point, and again, that's what Mark was going on about and whatnot. It's what I've said and that's why I'm not going to tell you the Kelsey story again and all that, but like it's why it lands so much to me. But even understanding all of that, it is still really scary and it is still really confusing and it still really also hurts. I don't care how strong of a man you are. I don't care how tough you think you are. Like Max is being exposed to doctors who are just like, yeah, sorry. You're done. Essentially, like, yeah, we just think you are just, and that is really jarring. That's really jarring. And even if you're trying to get it out of the deal, it is so wrong morally and ethically to throw that onto a human being and put that weight on his shoulders. I could actually cry here. I really could. I'm not going to, but I'm being honest. Like I feel it in the back of my mind. I feel it behind my eyes, where I'm just like, if I actually really linger on this thought for too long, like it could legitimately bring tears to my eyes. Now that I said, I'm like, dude, you're going to, I'm like, no, you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it. But seriously, because what you're putting on another man's soul right now, like I think that's actually something that we're not discussing enough, because when I was first bringing up this clip I'm like, what else is there to say? We've already said it, but I'm like, there's actually another layer here that we're not honestly discussing. And so to put that on someone else, if you want to back out of the deal, I think it's wrong obviously, but like the Ravens could have just said we don't want to do the deal. We realize this is not what we want to do. They're allowed to do that. They're technically how it's all worked, right? Like I don't think they had to fail him in order to do that. So, it's kind of like if you're going to break up with me, if you're going to fire me, if you're going to like be a man and do it, don't twist the narrative in a way that actually is in a position to cause me even harm. Like, it's manipulation. It's gaslighting. Like it's psychological abuse. Like it really is, like it's just wrong. It's just wrong. And again, I know at this point in my life, every time I go to a doctor, every time I get a scan, every time I was talking about this with my mom because we were talking about all these surgeries and whatnot. And my first handful of surgeries, I was like, yeah, all my injuries really, I was like, whatever. Crack my finger back in place, do the surgery, my knee, my this, my that. And it was just like, yeah, whatever. But I've been injured enough now and I've seen enough doctors and I've seen enough complications that it's like I told my mom, I was like, my first handful of surgery I was like, yeah, whatever. And it was like kind of like, oh, it's cool. I get to just lay in bed and eat food and, whatever. Blah 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 blah. And now I'm like, I don't want to go through that. I don't want to experience this anymore. I was like, I like it's exhausting. I've told you guys I've spent well over a year's worth of time in physical therapy, like all this stuff. And I'm like, and my body never feels the way it did before after. And so like I don't want to keep adding to that list. And every time I see a doctor, they're just like, yeah, your knee structure is narrowing or a knee replacement's in your future. And I've seen my dad go through multiple knee replacements and my mom's getting her shoulder replaced and it's just like I'm like it's scary, man. And just the idea, like I remember the first time I actually tore my meniscus and got knee injuries because I did have a lot of wear and tear on my body from playing sports and whatnot. And I saw a doctor and he was just like, yeah, like look, like your knees are messed up. Like you can see the narrowing and the arthritis. And I'm like, bro, I'm 21 years old. I'm like, what? Like what are you talking about? It was like it was scary. It was legitimately like what? My knees are messed up right now already. Like what? And so it's just like you're adding that on to Maxx Crosby, to a person who already understands deeply you're on this fine line. He knows it. Again, Maxx Crosby is not dumb and he is not interacting with other doctors who are like the doctors the doctors that he's interacting with are also going to be very real and honest about all these situations here. You're working on a professional athlete. And then so to have this other layer thrown onto him, it's actually a lot more gross than I think we really are just giving it room to breathe and understand. And man. I think it's wrong. Like I said, every time I really focus on that point of just how wrong it is, I'm just like, man, like I just want to give him a hug and just be like, you're good, bro. You're good. 'Cause I'm telling you, and because I listen, I know Maxx Crosby, like because of all of his background, things that he's gone through. You guys know I've talked about, working at the rehab facility, all that type of stuff. So, it's just like I know the Maxx Crosbys of the world quite deeply. Quite deeply. So, like I know how much that guy feels. I know how much he feels, I mean, I see that triangle on his neck, that tattoo, like that means something. That's not just a triangle. So, like throwing that extra nonsense on someone else's soul, man, that's just no, man. That's just so wrong. That's so wrong for just so many reasons. Snorts, so many reasons. So I'm excited for Max's redemption arc. I'm excited for his villain era. I am excited for that. And it's just like I was already a massive fan of Maxx Crosby, especially obviously because of everything that I just already established, kindred spirit there, as well as really excited about the Las Vegas Raiders and what they're going to do. But like, man, something about the revenge proving people wrong, it speaks to me, man. It speaks to me. It speaks to me. I've said this in the past where it's just like I screenshot like any time people leave like positive comments, I'll screenshot a lot of them just to kind of motivating. I got nothing but gratitude. Sometimes people say really nice things and I'm just like, I can't believe, anyone could ever say that about me. Answer. I screenshot them and they get me excited and they motivate me and they help me wake up in the morning. But it's the ones that tell me how bad I am, how much trash I am, how I'm not going to amount to anything, how it's just like I'm useless that it's like that haunts me and keeps me up at night. And it's like that's why I'm up here recording this video, Friday night in the me at 11 o'clock at night because I'm just like no, like I will not lose because you will not win. I think of the Omari starter commercial, tell me I can't, I don't hear you. And it's like that's really what's just like alright, like let's get after it. Let's get after it. Like that's what fires me up. And so it's like that's what I'm seeing out of Maxx Crosby and this Raiders team and I'm just like bring it. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about this? And at this point, we'll close this Maxx Crosby Ravens chapter and start the new Las Vegas Raiders Maxx Crosby chapter. But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. It's whether you agree with me or disagree with me. Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here, and I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up as it really does help visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.